Good morning. Welcome to the Foot Bliss program. You're listening to Maree Gifkins. It's starting to become summer, isn't it? We've got the spring here and the flowers are out and the bees are around. It's wonderful. So today we're going to talk about mystery with the illnesses. And there can be a lot of frustrated people out there. And it's a big, wide area, and I might not cover exactly what you want to hear, but you can always ring me and ask me any little details. So I'm a natural therapist and have been for 23 years, and I work in Hastings and in Waipakarau. So I have 3 days in Hastings, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, and Waipakarau Monday and Friday. So I'll give you my phone number now and you can write it down. How does that sound? Get it out of the way. So it's 0272 49 50 90. So we start to get a little bit sick and we're not sure what's going on and we get a bit confused and we have this symptom and that symptom and things aren't just making sense at all, and we've tried the painkillers and we've tried the water and we've tried the lemon in the water and knocking back on the food and doing a few different things that people have suggested, and then we sort of reluctantly go to the doctors. And we have 10 minutes with the doctor and try to tell him what's going on, and he'll go, okay, we'll do a blood count. So they do some blood tests and they send it away, and sometimes you get rung, but a lot of the times you don't get rung, and when you do ring in and ask about it, nothing was showing up. So that just means that nothing was showing up in the blood results, and that's where it becomes all a bit of a mystery, and you think, well, maybe it's my imagination. Maybe I'm imagining these things going on with me. And then you just try and get on with things and drink a bit more water and exercise a little bit more, and maybe you do come right for a little while. And then something happens, some stress, or you get a fright, or something happens and you go downhill. And then a few weeks after that, you start to not feel well again. Your energy levels are low, maybe you've got some aches and pains, you're not sleeping so well, you're tossing and turning, and you can't really put your finger on it. Something's going wrong again, or you might have some major symptoms, maybe some migraine headaches. And so you go back to the doctors again, and they investigate a bit further, and they do a little bit more, maybe a bit broader, wide testing with the bloods. And again, nothing comes back, and it just gets, and you just don't know what to do and where to go, and is it all in my head? And so it can get quite confusing. And so that's what I've seen over the years, in the last 23 years, is people come in very frustrated. They've been here, they've been there, they've tried this, they've tried that, and maybe they've just got sore feet and they've got a bit of aching in their feet, and the toes aren't feeling very good. So they come and see me for that reason, but they've got other stuff going on as well. And really in the last 12, 15 years, people are becoming more and more complicated with more and more issues. It's not straightforward, it's not just this or that. There's all of a sudden quite a big area of their body, and it's a little bit here and a little bit there, and it's not like huge stuff, but it all adds up. And so I'm in a fairly good position now of 23 years to know what's normal and what's not normal. And so that's always helpful. Or I can go, well, this is related to that and that's not related to that. And so you can sort of narrow things down a little bit. But some things are just quite a bunch of symptoms that, what is it? Like, let me see, let's give you an example. It's easier to give you an example. I had a gentleman a few months ago come to see me. He was only a young person, like 35, young compared to me, and he had quite a few issues going on. He was trying to work full-time. He had a couple of young kiddies as well, so you can imagine the stress of, having a little young kids in the house. And the wife was quite worried about him, and he was getting achy joints, and more so in the lower half of the body with the achiness. but then he'd had a chronic back problem for about 15 years. And we're only talking about a 35-year-old person. And sore feet, just very painful, on the verge of burning feet that would start as soon as he got out of bed until he'd sit and rest his feet again. And that had been happening for about 6 months. And he had also been having migraines as well. And his migraines, I said to him, well, how often are you getting a migraine? He's once a week. And I just looked at him and I said, what? A migraine once a week? That's dreadful. That's so bad. And I said, how long would it last? Oh, a day and a half. And I said, how long has this been all going on for? And he goes, the migraines for 6 months, the feet for about 6 months, achy joints but longer, sort of been building up over 2 years. And that's the thing, we have a little bit of this and a bit of that, and then it goes away, and then it's just coming in maybe once every 2 months, and then it starts to get, the time frame starts to get shorter and shorter, and all of a sudden you're once a week. And I looked at this poor young man, and it's like, oh my gosh, your life must be so hard. You don't know what to grab first, your knee or your feet or your back or your head. And it's like, to live like that, it's not very nice. And of course they've done all the blood tests and had the x-rays and the scans, and nothing's showing up. So how can that be? How can nothing be showing up? Well, I'm not a scientist and I'm not a doctor, and they do the best, and I know they do the best that they can, but some things just won't show in the blood. For an example, sometimes the viruses will burrow into the system, and so that means that they're not moving around in the blood, but they're in the tissue. And so anyway, with getting back to the gentleman, how did he get on? Well, I sort of took his whole story and I said to him, look, I'm not a doctor, I can't prove what I'm going to say, but the proof is always in the pudding, and that's where I go, maybe I'm on the right track. And so I believe that he had an underlying virus going on, and so I started treating him for the virus, and I was doing his feet too to balance up the feet so he could work easier, and the pressure would come off the feet. And so the following week when he came in, and I'd given him some essential oils to help with the healing, and they're very powerful, the essential oils. And within a couple of days, the achiness had stopped in the joints, and the major pain in the feet had started to subside. And I also told him to get off his dairy and get off his eggs. Okay, no milk, no yogurt, no ice cream, no cheese, no eggs, because these things feed viruses and bacteria. And I said to him, it's not forever, it's just no use feeding two of you. No use feeding you and a bug. Let's try and starve the bug out, and then when you're feeling a lot better, you can go back on to whatever you would like to eat. So he was all for whatever to try and change his life and get it around, because he'd been miserable. And so he was very good, and he decreased almost all of his dairy and the eggs, and he was using the essential oils on his feet, and then I saw him the following week, and he said, I've had no migraine. It's been 2.5 weeks and I've had no migraine. It's been 6 months since I haven't had this issue, or since I've had no migraine. And I said, how's your brain feeling? Is it clearer? And he goes, much clearer. It's like the clouds are gone and the sun is starting to come out. And sometimes that brain fog, and it's a very good description. It's like you are in a cloud and there's fog and mist around, and things aren't quite clear, and you've got to strain your brain to really concentrate on something. So his head started to clear as well, which means that the processing of the brain, the thinking parts, start to flow better, and then you're able to function better, able to work better, make decisions better, and you can start joining in with the family much better as well, and getting down there. I know he was getting down and playing with the kids, but he'll be actually in his present, he'll be there playing with the kids and actually enjoying it rather than just doing the motions. I guess like a zombie, isn't it? Because you're not quite with it. So we've changed his life completely around, and so he's on top of the world again and doing what a 35-year-old is supposed to do. It's quite sad to see such young people having such severe symptoms and problems that they just don't know where to go and what to do. It's bad enough when I get a 70-year-old coming in and, they're not being able to live their life the way they want to, or do all the walking that they want to, or stay in the garden as long as they want to. But for a 35-year-old, it just is not right at all. And these mystery illnesses that take people down, it's not nice, and it's becoming more and more and more. So I've really delved into studying the viruses and bacteria now and understanding it more, and studying how much the essential oils can help. I'm also, if you'd heard last month's program, I'd been over to Thailand and I've done the abdominal massage, which is the Chi Na Sang. Go on, everybody say it, Chi Na Sang, which is abdominal massage, and it's getting the circulation going, it's relaxing the organs on the inside and allowing that stimulation of things, with our immune system. If our immune system's not right, we just aren't right, and we can pick up anything going around and things start to go wrong. And on our training, Master Chia, he's 72, 74 now, and he looks like 52, so it's like, Maree, listen to him, he knows stuff. And he was saying to us, and there was 80 people on the course, and from all around the world, and he said, now, okay, our bodies produce these T cells and the immune cells, the soldiers and all these things to fight the battle on the inside. But where do they get trained? And we're all like, oh, I don't know, haven't read that in a book anywhere. Where do they get trained? We had no idea. And then he progressed to tell us that they actually get trained in the small intestines. It's like, so if our small intestines aren't working very well, and we have wind and we're burping and we have swelling and things either go too fast or too slow, then our immune system compromises and our immune system doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So things can start to snowball into other areas. And so the small intestines, he enforced how important the abdominal massage and the abdominal area is to our overall health. If our stomach's not right, that if you have an infection, a tummy bug or anything, that's it, you drop. You can't do anything. Your brain can't think, you can't drive a car, you just sit near the toilet or lie near the toilet, and that's your day. Your brain just shuts down if your digestion isn't working, or it's got a bug in there and you're either throwing up or the other end. You actually can't function, and you're very wobbly, and it's not very nice or easy to walk either. So the abdominal is very important in bringing back the immune system and helping fight these bugs. And that's what we need to do, is build the immune system up, build the whole system up. We need all the minerals and the vitamins to help aid the body fight these bugs that are elusive, that we can't seem to, science hasn't seemed to found the right tests to actually show that they're there. But they are there, and they're so small. They're just tiny little wee things, and they reproduce within about 6 weeks, and that's why sometimes we feel better, then we go down again, and then we feel better and we go down again, because they have a cycle of 6 weeks. They have to eat and they have to reproduce, because they die within 6 weeks. So the cycle has to carry on, and that's with the viruses. So we've talked about a little bit about bugs, and I've given you a case study. I'll give you another one, and it was another young person actually, and she was only 20, and again she came in miserable and achy joints, feet were sore, back was bad, neck was bad, and having migraines every week. And she'd been to chiropractors, osteopaths and so forth, and had all the blood tests and nothing showing, don't know what it is, only getting small reliefs from different things that she was trying. And again, I started treating her for virus content and some essential oils and changing the diet. And she's a lot better now, 20, and she can get on and start living again. So, if you know anyone or you're struggling with mystery illness, something's going on and there's different parts of the body, and you would like to come and see me and get my ideas or pick my brains, will cost you, but you can pick my brains. Give me a ring on 027 249 50 90. So let's talk about the feet, shall we? Seeing it is called the Foot Bliss program. So I've been working with feet for 23 years and I still enjoy it. I do the hands as well, so I do the feet and the hands. It's a very structural therapy. So it's working on the 28 bones of the feet, helping to realign them and bring them back into place. So it's a little bit like a chiropractor on your back, but I'm doing it on the feet. And so you're looking at bunions, twisted toes, hammer toes, flat feet, high arches, sports injuries with the feet, plantar fasciitis, all the calcification in the bones of the feet, burning, all those sorts of issues. So you could say, someone said to me, you're the guru of feet. And I cracked up laughing and I thought about it. I could see where you're coming from. There's not too many of us. And so I do specialise in the feet, and I do get about 95% success. So you'd have to be pretty unlucky for it not to work, and you will know within about 5 treatments whether it's having an effect on you or not. I might not have fixed everything, but you just know that you're in the right place. And it just takes a little bit of time, because sometimes it's taking you 20, 30 years to get to where you are. And so sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to reverse the issues as well. So the feet and then the hands. And, straightening out hands, can be quite exciting. I had a lady many years ago, in about 80, I think she was about 80, and her fingers were tightening up and curling over, and she couldn't play the piano anymore. Now, she was a piano teacher, and so not to be able to play the piano anymore is pretty hard going on your life. And there's so much enjoyment you'd get out of playing the piano, of course. And first she had to stop teaching because of her hands, and she wasn't able to spread her fingers out to play the piano anymore. And so there was a bit of pain going on in her hands as well. And so she thought that that was her lot and she'd never be able to play the piano again, until she came to see me. And she came to have her feet done, and she told me the story about her hands, and I said, look, let's do your hands as well. Let's get some mobility back into them. Let's try and reverse this process. And by the 4th week, so she was having 2 treatments a week, by the 4th week she came in, 8 treatments, and she goes, guess what I was doing in the weekend? I said, what were you doing in the weekend? She goes, I was playing the piano. You should have seen the smile on her face, the spark in her eyes, and you could just see that she never thought she was going to be able to play the piano again. And the joy that was radiating from her, it was just quite incredible. I was like, this is why I do my job. To see these beautiful smiles on people, to reverse something that she never thought she was going to be able to do again. And the following weekend after the following weekend she comes in, she goes, guess what I was doing on the weekend? I said, playing your piano. And she goes, yes, I was playing that. Just as well she hadn't sold it, eh? And she goes, no, I got the knitting needles out and started knitting again. Oh, it's great. I can do all these things. And it stays. It doesn't just, you stop treatments with me and it comes back. It stays. As long as you're moving your hands, moving your feet, walking around, these things stay. So once you've done your initial treatment with me, then you don't have to come back and have once a month treatments or once every 3 months. Quite often I don't see people for 4 years again, and in 3 years, and they come in for something different. Something else is going on with their bodies. So it's very nice, and that makes space for new people to come as well. So you can get in and see me, because I'm not dealing with one person all the time. I like to get to the root issue with their problems and actually start correcting them. Sure, there's going to be some people that I can't help for whatever reason, but they're getting less and less, those ones, because I'm learning more and more and more. And so, if you are struggling, you have to think about it, because why struggle if you don't have to? If there's a chance of coming right, of being able to walk better, sometimes it's that balance of getting off a chair, and it's those first few steps, and you wonder whether you're going to be able to stay upright. And it's getting those messages from the feet back up to the brain, back down to the feet, and being able to place your feet and lift your knees, bend your knees, and place the next foot and the next foot. By having that stability and those messages going through, you feel so much better, and then you can get on with things, can't you? You're not having to struggle with every step, because we need to be able to make a cup of tea and go to the toilet, and that's the basics of life, isn't it? Be able to do those two things, and yet if we haven't got our feet, they are a struggle. I have people coming in with burning feet, pins and needles running down their legs, or just in their feet, or down an arm. It's not all just pain, things that are just pain. There's other feelings as well. The lack of sensations going on in the feet, they just feel an altered sense. Yes, it's usually coming from the nerves, but let's narrow it down to what's going on, and maybe be able to start improving that and getting it better. Because we know that our body can heal given the right chance. And that's the magic part. You get the right thing into you, and the body will start to respond, and it will start to get better and pick up, and then you start to feel better. You can see the flowers better, and all the colours, and the blue sky, and you start to have a bit more energy, and you start doing the things that you've been putting off. So thank you for listening today, and if you would like to get hold of me, my number again is 0272 49 50 90. Bye.